Sisixoli, sicela amanzi storho. Sicela bottle amanzi. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, councillors. Councillors, can we settle down? Councillors, the bells has been running. Lenzele khwasa. No, thank you very much, councillors. We are about to start. We are 70. I think we qualified to can start. No, thank you very much. Before we adjourn for lunch, the Honorable Executive Mayor presented the item 26.1 adjustment budget. Now I can now see hands that will be Councillor Bivia. Or you are raising already? Were you raising your hand already for? Oh, no. Yeah, I'm almost there. I was to allow you to raise hands to draw on that item, those who would like to speak on it. 26.1. Are we together? 26.1. Councillors, can you be quiet? It is very important to respect one another so that we save time. Councillor Vivier. Councillor Botma. On a point of? Okay.
Thank you very much, Chair. I need to understand when Modula Stulowak, you were given Mathae au chair, who was speaker or Unaswanse Adzwe. Now, I need to understand when Modulasetulo rena, are you gonna hand Mathae over again to Mangaung now that the speaker is here? I want to understand, fellow. You can't chair in the presence of the speaker. Ke kopa clarity mo Modulasetulo.
No, thank you very much. No, thank you very much for the question. With powers vested in me currently, I will continue till I hand over to the speaker. No, thank you very much. Let's continue, councillors.
Chairperson, I just want to mention that we did mail a list through to the speaker of the DA speakers. Maybe that can assist you in all the hard duties that you have now. Thank you.
No, thank you. Let me request it from administration. Mama, can I have that list? No, councillors, no panic. I will handle only this item. I will send it all power to the speaker again. No panic. Comrade, Mr. Councillor Mungale. Kimang. Councillor Foster. Councillor De Bruin. Oh, Councillor De Pale. Then I received. No, I received a list. No, thank you very much. 26.1. Oh, that will be Deputy Executive Mayor. No, thank you very much, councillors. May we go in that order, and may we please avoid to have frivolous point of order so that we save time. Let us be specific to the item and move. Thank you very much. Can I have Councillor Vivian?
Honourable Speaker, through you, Executive Mayor, the Democratic Alliance will not be negative towards the adjustment budget. It's really that there is 114 million more available in for capital expenditure, which includes infrastructure, the maintenance thereof, and the delivery of services. When we are normally accustomed to an adjustment budget being adjusted downwards by this time of the year. Thus, to the CFO in absentia and the team and the MMC of Finance, well done. Especially well done in convincing National Treasury to trust this metro by allocating more of their conditional grants to this municipality. Unfortunately, we now need to do the reality check, and to a certain extent, I am going to quote the dismay of the MMC of Finance when none of the HODs was at the Section 80 Finance Committee meeting. In addition to that, as per norm, the city manager was also missing. Why is there such an issue? What is the reality check? This adjustment budget now needs to be implemented by the administration of this metro within only 4 short months. If the pass is our guideline, as well as the absence of officials, the implementation of the adjustment budget will dismally fail, and we will have to pay provincially grants back to National Treasury. Thus, through you, Honourable Speaker, Executive Mayor, after more than 2 years of not achieving much, please now take the responsibility to attend to the administration of this municipality to implement the adjustment budget. The adjustment budget is not without certain concerns. Thank you for some feedback on our memo regarding the Fire and Rescue Department within the adjustment budget, but how does reducing the budget help the community during the upcoming fire season? The greatest concern is the approval of new policies and amendments to existing policies. These policies should be workshopped properly before we just approve them. If it is left as it is, they will come back to haunt us. To now just do a quick tick box exercise on National Treasury's directive will not suffice. This tick box exercise is a dereliction of our oversight duty. We are here to deliberate, not just decorate the directive of National Treasury. Through you, Speaker, in absentia, CFO, have the new and amended policies being rushed through today been costed? If a policy is approved without the budget to implement it, it's a violation of the MFMA, a so-called unfunded mandate. Dear fellow councillors, legislative due diligence cannot be sacrificed for administrative convenience. Treasury directives are the floor, not the ceiling, for our local responsibilities. National Treasury directives are meant to guide us, not to bypass oversight. Thus, the DA proposed that the item of the adjustment budget, February 2025-26, be referred back to the relevant Section 80 and 79 committees of this Council so that the policies could be properly workshopped and amended where applicable. Thank you.
Councillor Watma.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, as I acknowledge the importance of policies, new and revised, in the budget process, I have to support and second the recommendation by Councillor Bavia. I have to. Chair, then, today we consider the February 25-26 adjustment budget of the Mangaung Metropolitan Municipality. While this adjustment arises from the mid-year assessment tabled on 29 January 2026, it must do more than just correct figures. It must correct direction. An adjustment budget should not merely respond to pressure, it should restore focus, discipline and delivery. The net result of the operational budget shows a decrease in revenue of 9.7 million, although we've learned that the new Urban Development Finance Grant, the UDFG, 114 million rand. From our interaction with National Treasury on 16 and 17 February, it showed that this could have even been more if all the required documentations were submitted by Cllr. On the expenditure side, the total budget expenditure increased with 187 million. This is merely due to increases in employee costs, outside sources and contract services. The result, of course, Chairperson, is that the capital budget increased with 73 million. We could do that because of that grant. That grant, I can just say, is an unforgiving grant if you use it or lose it. Easy as that. I'm very pleased to learn from the CFO that the total revenue and maintenance budget increased to 740 million, and this represents 4% of the total asset value of the municipality. Still far away from the 8% what we at least need to maintain our assets. Therefore, instead of only criticizing what has worked, let us use this moment to advise on how we resolve the issues before us. Firstly, regarding the additional 114 million from UDFG under the Metro Service Reform or Water and Sanitation. Water and sanitation are the heart of the community's frustration. To ensure this allocation delivers impact, I propose the following. 1, the ring-fenced implementation plan with clear project lists, timelines and responsible officials. Secondly, monthly expenditure and progress reporting to the relevant oversight committee. Thirdly, prioritizing of repairs and refurbishing of existing infrastructure before expansion projects. And fourthly, the strict consequence management where contractors or officials fail to meet milestones. If you combine funding with accountability, this allocation can restore public confidence. Secondly, on the job grading exercise and alignment to a task-based remuneration, organizational alignment is necessary. However, we must ensure that this process is cost neutral over the medium term and linked to productive outcomes. I recommend that any upward adjustment in remuneration be accompanied by measurable performance indicators. Secondly, the productive activity gains and services delivery improvement to be tracked and reported, and that Council receives a long-term affordability assessment before full implementation. If structured properly, this reform can enhance efficiency rather than expand post-pressures. Thirdly, regarding outsourced services and consultant allocations, consultants should transfer skills, not replace management. Therefore, every consultant contract must include skills transfer clause. Deliverables must be measurable. A reduction plan over the next 2 financial years should be tabled. And then on security services and vandalism, particularly in facilities at Vista Park and the zoo, we must combine protection with prevention. This requires collaboration with law enforcement and community structures, installation of preventative infrastructure such as lighting, access control, visible consequence management, and deter repeat incidents. We cannot budget indefinitely for damage repairs without addressing root causes. Regarding fleet repairs, sewer blocking, pit latrine, vacuuming, and maintenance of water treatment works, these are core municipal functions to stabilize operations. Preventative maintenance schedules must be enforced. Fleet availability ratios should be reported quarterly. Emergency response times for sewer and water breakdown must be monitored and published. The shifts as reactive crisis management and proactive service management. The most critical issue is funding credibility. A budget that is technically funded but weak in cash flow projection creates risk, and therefore I propose conservative revenue, strengthening of revenue, transparent reporting. As the opposition, we are prepared to support the prioritization that strengthens the service delivery. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Mongale.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Chair, on the issue of adjustment budget, I would like to raise the following. Firstly, I need to acknowledge what the executive mayor have said today, for the first time in the history of this council, that you were talking to the items. Now we understand what are the challenges with regard to adjustment budget, where are the priorities in terms of channeling funding. But the issue here is that I also want to emphasize the issue that adjustment budget is like a speed train. It's where you say, now I'm adjusting the budget to meet the timelines of my financial year, to make sure that I utilize the money effectively, so that there should be no money that is returned or the money that is staying in the coffers of the municipality that cannot be clarified what was it for, because all the money should be allocated to the vote for purposes of efficiency if we want to deliver quality service to our people. Now, we also at least have accepted that there has been some failures within the institution, but the most important part is that within the adjustment budget, I hope that this adjustment budget is not about the ANC conferences that are coming. I hope that it is only about what is written on the documents. I'm raising these issues, and you don't have to judge me now. At least you have 3 months to come back when Auditor General have done their audit to say, you are wrong, and then I'll admit I was wrong. But I'm saying I hope. I'm not accusing anyone that we have already taken the money. But now you are provoking me to remember that you still have 100 million that have not yet been accounted for. That was flagged by Mathae CDT, who was the acting CFO. You can be angry on the truth, but you are not denying that there is an existence of the truth. It is on record that Mathae CDT have said that. When I say sweet things, you get excited. When I say things that you don't like, especially that are reflecting to corruption, you become angry. You should not be easily provoked. You are public representatives. You are not individuals. Or let me leave ANC alone. Let me address what the mayor have said. Mayor have said there are mesh boxes and also RDP houses. Now I want to tell you that RDP houses have got a shorter lifespan than the mesh boxes that we were casing during the struggle against apartheid. The mesh boxes are still standing even today. I apologize for going there, but I was just reminding you. Now, the issue of the policies, Councillor Kondilo, do you remember that when I spoke about the supply chain management policy that you said it is coming, there will be an amendment. We are dealing with others, but we are still yet to review that policy so that it should reflect the interest of the people of Mangaung. Now, you can't be the chair when you are not elected a chair. I know you like positions, but this one is not yours. Yes, no, I was addressing you because you are the most disruptive councillor I've ever met in my life. And there seems to be no one willing to call you to order. I thought today I must call you to order. You are a problem councillor. You are a problem councillor. And you are a danger to the existence of the decorum of this council. I've been very lenient with you. Now, Executive Mayor, I wanted to address the issue of, you mentioned good things about the buildings that have been left abandoned in the city, that the municipality must pounce on them and be able to make good use of those buildings and maybe issue fines for those who are the owners of the building, but they are not committed in terms of looking after those buildings because they become criminal havens. Now we need to find a way of resolving that matter because it is one element that will also chase investors out of this city. Because no business will want to be situated next to a place where criminals are hibernating. The other issue that we need also to check on this issue of adjustment budget is the issue that has been reflected on one of your policies. I think it's the policy that deals with so quick. No. No. Okay, in closing, on the issue of the asset disposal, we need to make sure that whoever that is appointed on that committee, I'm aware that the city manager is the one that is appointing, but those people must be vetted for purposes of making sure that we clean our system. Thank you for the opportunity, Chair.
No, thank you very much, Councillor Foster.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. All protocols observed. The Freedom from Plaas is deeply concerned about what this adjustment budget reveals about the financial management in our metro. An adjustment budget should refine and respond to minor changes in economic conditions. It should not expose systematic weaknesses in planning, execution, and financial discipline. Unfortunately, this budget does exactly that. Firstly, we see over-optimistic revenue forecasting on electricity. The Metro budgeted for a 13.5% tariff increase, yet the National Energy Regulator of South Africa approved only 12.7%. That miscalculation resulted in a 42.7 million rand shortfall. This was not an unpredictable disaster. Tariffs approvals are regulated processes. Budgeting beyond what is reasonably expected is not prudent financial planning. It was a risky speculation. Secondly, we see a shocking 30.4 million rand spike in the acting and post-related allowances, from just over 1 million rand to more than 31 million rand, an increase of 3,000%. This reflects the inability or unwillingness to fill permanent necessary positions. Instead of stability, we have a costly revolving door of acting appointments. This undermines accountability and institutional memory, and it drains the operating budget. There's a lack of proper workforce planning. Reallocating these funds away from the basic salaries to fund acting posts is not stability, it's a crisis management. Funds have yet again been shifted away from the capital expenditure budget, away from long-term infrastructure investment, because projects are described as non-performing. 34.9 million was removed from own-funded capital projects and redirected to operational repairs and maintenance. When projects fail to perform, it means planning was poor or project management collapsed. Infrastructure backlogs grow while the metro patches and repairs to address yesterday's failures. A clear example again presented itself over the past weekend when the northern suburbs had to endure power failures due to decaying electricity infrastructure. 182.8 million rand in additional funds were allocated to contracted services, partly due to vandalism of Vista Park, the zoo, water treatment facilities. Yes, vandalism is a reality, but where was the preventive planning? Where was the security strategy in the original budget? Portions of the conditional grants, like informal settlement upgrading partnership grant, again had to be rolled over because funds were unspent. When the national government allocates funds for service delivery and the metro fails to spend them, it reflects implementation failure. Communities wait while money sits idly in the bank account. Interest income had to be adjusted downwards. This means less cash in hand than anticipated. Cash flow management is a heartbeat of a municipality. When liquidity weakens, service delivery eventually suffers. The executive report openly states that the adjustment budget aims to rely for overspending on votes. Overspending mid-year signals weak expenditure control and poor oversight. Departments cannot treat the approved budget only as a suggestion. This adjustment budget may maintain technical fiscal balance on paper, but balance achieved through shifting, cutting, and emergency realignment is not the same as sustainable financial health. The residents of Mangaung deserve disciplined forecasting, stable leadership appointments, effective project management, and strict expenditure control. They deserve infrastructure that is built, not budgets that are repeatedly repaired. We cannot normalize crisis-driven governance. Adjustment budgets should refine good planning, not correct avoidable mistakes. Unfortunately, the Freedom from Plus cannot support this. I thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Councillor de Bruin.
Toespraak teen die adjustment budget. Voorsitter, lede van die raad, collega's en gemeenskapsverteenwoordigers. Ons staan vandag voor 'n dokument wat die oorspronklike begroting wenslik wil aanpas. Ek wil dit duidelik stel, 'n adjustment budget behoort 'n uitsondering te wees, nie 'n reël nie. Wanneer 'n munisipaliteit keer op keer groot aanpassings moet maak, wys dit op 'n gebrek aan beplanning, dissipline en deursigtigheid. Swak beplanning, die hoofbegroting is aanvaar met die beloftes dat dit die behoeftes van ons mense aanspreek. As ons nou groot verskywings maak, vra ek waarom is hierdie uitgawes nie vooraf geïdentifiseer nie? Wie dra die verantwoordelikheid vir daardie tekortkoming? Deursigtigheid en verantwoordbaarheid. Adjustment budget mag nie 'n skerm wees om foute toe te smeer of om onnodige uitgawes te regverdig nie. Ons moet vra watter projekte verloor nou befondsing en hoe word die gemeenskap ingelig oor hierdie veranderinge. Gemeenskapsbelang, elke rand wat verskei word, het 'n direkte impak op dienste soos water, sanitasie, padonderhoud en veiligheid. As fondse weggeneem word van die noodsaaklike projekte, dan is die mense wat die prys betaal. finansiële dissipline. Ons kan nie 'n kultuur van los finansies bestuur toelaat nie. 'n Adjustment budget moet nie net noodfonds wees om wanbestuur te dek nie. Dit moet eerder 'n instrument wees vir die beperkte regverdigbare aanpassings. En dit is nie wat ons hier sien nie. Voorsitter, ek doen 'n beroep op hierdie raad om verantwoordelikheid te neem. Ons kan nie aanhou om begrotings te verskuif soos dit ons pas nie. Ons skuld die gemeenskap 'n begroting wat beplan, nagekom en deursigtigheid bestuur word. Ons as die Patriotic Alliance keer dus nie hierdie adjustment budget goed nie. Ek vra dit dat ons terugkeer na die beginsels van 'n goeie beplanning en 'n finansiële dissipline. I thank you.
Councillor Dipale.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Theo, Udeng, how are you? You are very quiet. Mwana start to tuki. It's been a while, young. Maybe it's been a while. Kisawuboni. Sapoda political power, mwana yatsama. No, it's fine. I'll cover it. The economic freedom fighters have carefully considered the adjustment budget for the 2025-2026. As the caucus of the EFF, we went out for a thorough check in terms of how the performance is doing on, in terms of individual MMCs to their directorate or their responsibility. Having have checked the adjustment budget and said to ourselves, no, we need to go there physically ourselves and check what is happening. And when we found out, what we found out was very appalling, the unfortunate part of it. We went to Kontungwa, Landbit side, Bloemfontein, Botshabelo, and the north. Mole rebuild the squatter camp, rebuild the criminals. It's not safe at all for but once a bayamu. Only the problem is into. So please, MMC, only responsible for that, please. Mayor, Mathae kamo. Lona as the executive must go there and make an oversight. It's bad. The criminals are they can just run there and stay there. Mathae kamo. Mathae. So for 2025-2026 financial year, and we concluded that the budget does not address the real needs of our communities. Adjustment budget are meant to correct the underperformance and redirect resources to improve service delivery, but in Mangaung, they have become a yearly exercise of shifting money without solving problems. During discussion, it became clear that the adjustment budget mainly reshuffles funds between departments instead of improving conditions on the ground. Projects that were approved in previous budgets remain incomplete, yet new allocations continue to be made. This shows poor planning and weak implementation. The EFF is concerned that the budget is not pro-poor, while communities continue to live in informal settlement and township roads remain in a terrible condition. Funding priorities do not reflect these realities. Human settlement funding is reduced despite growing housing backlog, and community services continue to struggle while service delivery challenges increase. Whereas its budget is increased substantially. As usual, because of used as a cash cow for some of their comrades. At the same time, Some directorates receive increased allocation despite poor performance and allegations of corruption. Facilities such as the fresh produce market are collapsing, while administrative departments receive more funding. Recreational facilities, parks, graveyards, and swimming pools appear in adjustment budget every year, including the Arthur Nathan swimming pool, yet there is a little progress on the ground. The EFF is also concerned about the lack of accountability. Heads of departments were absent in important adjustment budget meetings, showing a disregard for council oversight. The Municipal Public Accounts Committee has failed to report meaningfully on corruption for several years, while corruption continues to be reported. Sorry. At the same time, some directorates receive increased allocation despite poor performance and allegation of corruption. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. The Honorable Deputy Executive Mayor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, before we summarize the movement of this adjustment budget, we'd like to inform this council of Mangaung that the city has not yet received the outcome of the assessment from the National Treasury on whether with the proposal of the adjustment budget, that the budget remain funded as the original budget was as such. The recommendation proposals are subjected to the confirmation expected. This then will lead to another recommendation that upon receiving the outcomes of the assessment, that the city manager and the chief financial officer implement the recommendation made by the National Treasury and submit the final version of the adjusted budget for information to council with all the clarities or changes that will be affected as per recommendation from the National Treasury. Honorable councillors, as indicated, the adjustment budget has been informed by the approved rollover project from 2024-2025 to 2025-2026 outcome, which was received on the 22nd of October 2025, confirming the following. ISUPG 14.8 million that we received from the rollover, and there are projects that we identify which are already continuing, and we said let's focus on those projects until the finalization of them. The upgrading of sewer infrastructure in Freedom Square, which is we put 4.4 million. Tabanchu, Muroka, Rata water and sanitation, we put 3.8 million. South Pani, Ikumutseng, water and sewer construction, we put 1.1 million. Diversdorp, water and sewer, 1.1 million. Butshabelo section R, installation of water infrastructure, 4.3 million. And Konto Saliva, ERF, installation of water and sanitation, which is 39,000. Honorable Speaker, also the project preparation grant, the grant that is dealing with the intensive design in our project, we put the amount of 2.2 million on pressure and network zone management program. And the second one, we put 2.6 million to the proactive lake detection and repair program. Honorable Speaker, if we can check this budget, we are talking about the basic. What we said, this is the budget that we said it's a service delivery budget, where we want to finalize the basic issues that our people have challenges on. Changes in the revenue, in our revenue, Honorable Speaker, reference is made to Council Resolution of 111.9 of June 2025, approval of NERSA approval tariffs for electricity during the public participation process, and as per the approved budget. This increase in revenue was based on the applied for tariff increase of 13.5% to 12.4% increase, which led to decrease in revenue projections by 42 million. This decrease was affected by Cllr immediately, and after council resolution to align the revenue which affected from the 1st of July 2025. Honorable Speaker, in terms of the Cllr revenue, original budget revenues was 4.738 billion. NERSA tariff implications reductions by 42 million. Final adjustment is 4.652 billion. Operational expenditure increased by 21 million, whilst capital budget originally 321 million decreased to capital adjustment budget of 300 million. Cllr board it did propose an adjustment budget between capital and operational expenditure in the amount of 21.7 million. Honorable Speaker, some of the issues the executive mayor raised, but the one that I wanted to emphasize is that the city committed 38.1 million on the acquisition of land located on earth known as Hope Grange Farms to relocate communities reside in Ward 1, 6, 10, 1, 17, 4, 46. The extension of the land purchase will accommodate more than 7,000 households, and the extent is 32 hectares, 132 hectares. In terms of the USDG, honorable councillors, the Cllr allocated 33 million, remain unchanged to the 44 million. Waste management reduction reduced from 21.386 million to 20.286 million. Community and social development reduced from 11 million to 1 million due to 10 million projects related to fencing of cemeteries not meeting the criteria under USDG framework. Planning and human settlement increased from 37.9 to 49.9 million. That's for 12 million increase. Road and transport increased from 124 million to 159 million. Water and sanitation increased from 313.4 million to 278 million. Some projected are moved to UDFG. Honorable Speaker, in closing, I wanted just to indicate that the UDF is focused on the following: water meters replacement project 30 million, massive sport 14 million, refurbishment of water supply system 20 million, refurbishment of water treatment works 39.7 million. Honorable Speaker, this adjustment budget has gone through extensive consultation with the sitting of 2 budget steering committees, 2 mayoral committees, and has been recommended by the finance committee to council for approval. It was in detail discussed in the finance committee. The recommendation and proposed resolution are outlined in the item. Honorable Speaker, I heard councillors that talk about the 100 million. Honorable councillors, if you remember, the executive mayor sanctioned the CFO to come and explain what happened in 100 million. I'm so surprised if we are still discussing the issue of 100 million today. Honorable Speaker, I'm happy for any input that was forwarded by the councillors. We'll take note and will emphasize on the discussion as the Section 8 of Finance as we managed to discuss and bring this item here. This adjustment budget is dealing only on service delivery matters. Let's go and work, and we also encourage all the Section 80 that have projects that are here. They must go and do their oversight and monitor and evaluate whether the amount that today will be approving is really indeed used by those departments. Thank you very much. I support the item as it is. Thank you.
Councillor Peter.
Sure. Mandibulela speaker. Ndingamoshi ixesha ndingena emxholweni ngoba ndizawusokola ukuphunga le tiye ezabibande. Quickly, let me just speaker address two things. These policy amendments, they are informed by National Treasury for a number of reasons. As much as you could say National Treasury is the bottom tier, but for the purpose that we are still under Section 139, subsection 7, our budget is assessed by National Treasury, either the original budget or the adjustment. So as a result, they get to have a say in our budget. In this case, there are a number of policies that we recommended that to say we need to work around them. Furthermore, the very same policy that we have included here that are budget related are those other policies that were flagged by the Auditor General when she was presenting here. So I'm not sure then today why are we trying to yet we know exactly these issues are also meant to address the action plan, audit action plan that we approved here in this council. So we need to be honest to ourselves. We can't be grandstanding unnecessarily. The very same policies that you refer to, I would implore that please, in this budget process, can you please make those inputs, submit them to the office of the CFO, because he's the one that is directly dealing with them. Thank you very much. Without wasting any time, Honorable Speaker, I stand to support the proposed adjustment budget that's presented by the Executive Mayor and the MMC of Finance. Honorable Speaker, the adjustment budget was well debated in the Finance Committee by a number of councillors who are serving there, as alluded to by the Deputy Mayor. And further to that, I need to indicate that there were some robust discussions in terms of even of advising on those policies that are budget related and non-budget related, because they were tabled in the Section 8 of Finance. And I need to indicate as well that the Speaker, during this process, the HODs were consulted. They had sessions with Finance, whereby the whole idea was that they need to also inform the MMCs to say what could be the changes that will be effected there. So without wasting any time, let me quickly go to the financial, in fact, the final operational expenditure movements that were noticed while we were doing this operational budget. The first one is the employee cost increased by 20 million, moving from 2.81 billion to 2.148 billion. The outsourced services increased by 56.7 million against the requested 113 million with the final budget of 249 million. Consultant services increased by 16.6 million. Contracted services increased by 92 million, moving the budget up to 512.7 million. The inventory consumed, including bulk water purchases, increased by 30 million. I need to highlight, Speaker, that there are a number of things that we need to also talk about, especially from the policy perspective, those that were amended. I need to highlight the following. Councillors will remember that our last council of January, we did even bring an item here whereby it was talking about the indigent policy. In that indigent policy, I need to read this just to remind the councillors. The indigent policy has been amended to give delegations to approve to the city manager, who will sub-delegate to the officials in finance. This delegation is limited to applications, not debt write-off. Remember, we got a policy on the debt write-off. Therefore, as this can only be done by council in accordance with the debt write-off policy, which I've alluded to. Secondly, the credit control policy has been amended as well to give effect to the issuance of PTO as giving legitimate expectation for land tenure, thus enabling the city to open accounts for those allocated sites. This is also emanating from the report that was tabled by the Auditor General to say we have a lot of unaccounted water and so on and so forth. So we are trying to curb that. The other policy, which is granting aid, has been also amended as far as the committee appointment by the executive, that is in a minimum of 3 MMCs, HOD for community services, as a permanent member to that. I think that even alluded to that to say, please, we need to do that effectively. Furthermore, there are other two policies that are non-financially related that we have spoken about. I think that two of them is asset impairment as well as disposal of assets. So I need to indicate, Speaker, that those policies are very relevant with regard to this budget adjustment. So without wasting any time, like the Deputy Mayor have said earlier on, we still are waiting for the final assessment from the auditor, from the National Treasurer. We therefore request that in an event, if we get that, the city manager and the CFO must be able to make those changes that will have been requested by National Treasurer and bring the matter back to council. I thank you.
No, thank you very much, Councillor Peter. Honorable Councillors, that brings us to the end of the debate. But before I can move, may I just check with Councillor Vivier on behalf of GA. When we started, there was a proposal from yourself to say, you proposed that the matter be referred back. After the response and everything, do you still maintain that? No, thank you very much. No, having said that, may I then check with the House, honorable councillors, with hands, all those who are in support of the proposal of the DA for the item to be referred back. Yes, there was a second by Councillor Botma. Admin, please help me with the numbers there. I'm getting 21. Those are against? $49. 49. Those abstaining? I got 19. So the item, I got 21 from the hands that supports the item to be referred back. Then I have 49, those against. Then I have 19, those who are abstaining. Now the matter will be carried over. No, thank you very much for that one. Then that matter, the proposal will fall off because now we have 49 in the number that is against. Thank you very much. Then can we move to the approval? The matter is for approval, as I understand. Now can I have those hands that support all the recommendations as they are, also with the additionals that were made? Can we have those hands? we have 49. Those against? That is, we got 40. Thank you very much. Those abstaining? No abstentions? No, thank you very much, councillors. We have 49 in support, then 40 against. So thank you very much. The approval is granted by this Honorable House. Honorable Speaker, allow me to thank you very much and Honorable Councillors for the opportunity. Your position is secured, Speaker. There's no threat there. Allow me also to send messages to my community in Ward 2. Yes. The biggest ward, but location Bochabela, Dikhartene, and Matikiri. Thank you very much, Speaker. As I bring back your powers, thank you very much.
No, thank you. Thank you, Chairperson Tuna. There's an old adage which says, an old proverb which says, if you set a bird free and it comes back to you, it was yours from the beginning. No, I would like to thank you very much and thank all the councillors for their participation. I would want us to run very quickly, colleagues. We are only left with 5 items, and those 5 items can barely take us 30 minutes. Yeah. The next item, item 2, request for approval on debt incentive scheme policy for the 1st of March 2026 to 30th June 2027. And then the second item is councillor salary deductions. May I see hands of those who want to speak? I know I've got the list from the DA on 26.2, it will be Councillor Botma and Councillor Kotze. Councillor Foster. Councillor Mongale. 26.2. Debt incentive, yes. And then the last 2 councillors will be Councillor Kondile and Deputy Executive Mayor. In that order, you may proceed, Councillor Botma.
Thank you, Speaker. Honourable Councillor Dr. Mathae, through you, Executive Mayor. Thank you for the opportunity. Today we are asked to consider the approval of the debt incentive scheme for a period 1 March 26 to 30 June 27. This is not merely an administrative item. It's a strategic revenue intervention that speaks directly to the financial sustainability of the Mangaung Metropolitan Municipality. The DOA will always encourage any measures to collect the huge outstanding debtors of the Metro. currently standing at about 10 billion. As a measure to improve cash flow in the municipality, on the 25th of February 25, Council approved debt incentive scheme as a method of collection of outstanding arrears from customers. We supported the item through some outstanding debtors amounts had to be written off, but this is a way of cleaning up the debtors book of uncollectible debts. The debt incentive scheme is a scheme designed to encourage consumers to settle their outstanding accounts at a lower amount than the current total outstanding debt of the consumers. Let us start with the facts. The previous scheme delivered measurable results. A total of 367 million was reduced from the debtors book. Of that amount, 221 million was collected in cash, directly improving our liquidity. Yes, 145 million was granted as discount, but that discount unlocked real value which otherwise may have been collected. Speaker, in a municipality under financial strain, cash flow is king. An uncoverable debtors book does not fund service delivery. Cash in the bank does. The legal framework is clear. Section 96 of the Municipal Systems Act obliges us to collect all money due to the municipality. The MFMA requires effective revenue system. The Prescription Act reminds us that if we do not act timelessly, debt describes, and then we lose everything. In that context, this scheme is not generously, it's a risk management. The proposal is structured and differentiated. Residential consumers, churches, NPOs, NGOs, and agriculture properties receive 50% discount on debt older than 120 days. So it's not just from the older debt, it's from 120 days. Business consumers receive 10% discount on similar age debts. Strict conditions apply, deposits are required, current accounts must remain up to date, and the default trigger cancellation. Councillors and municipal employees are not included, so we all are excluded here. The benefit applies only once per property. This is balanced. It supports households under economic pressure while protecting the municipality's interest. However, Speaker, support must not mean recklessness. We must ensure, firstly, that this scheme does not create a culture of non-payment in anticipation of future write-offs. Secondly, that administration and verification processes are tight to prevent abuse. 3, that we receive quarterly reporting to Council on uptake revenue realized, discount gain granted and default rates. The prepaid meter conversions are actively implemented to prevent repeat arrears. If implemented with discipline, this scheme can achieve these critical outcomes. Firstly, improve liquidity. Secondly, clean and stabilize our debtors book. And thirdly, provide realistic relief to struggling but willing customers. But if implemented without monitoring, it could undermine payment culture. Speaker, the choice before us is pragmatic. We either hold on to paper debt that may prescribe, or we convert a portion of it into real cash flow while maintaining enforcement mechanisms. As a council, our duty is not only to approve policies, it is to safeguard sustainability. Subject to strong oversight, performance reporting, and strict enforcement of the conditions contained in this policy, I support the implementation of this debt incentive scheme. Let us use it as a financial recovery tool and not as a political instrument. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Botman. Councillor Godze.
Thank you, Speaker. The Democratic Alliance approaches this item from a position of fairness, accountability, and value for money for the residents of Mangaung Metro. This is now the second year in a row that the ANC administration has brought a debt incentive scheme to Council, not as part of a recovery plan, but as a substitute for proper governance and service delivery. Speaker, let us be clear. While we support lawful revenue collection, it is unacceptable that administrative incompetence is continually blamed on residents. Last year, many residents reported that municipal accounts were not delivered. Their bills were estimated for months, and legitimate billing disputes were ignored by management. Despite these issues, residents were still expected to pay. When they couldn't, the ANC responded by disconnecting their water supply, offering discounts and attempting to mask its own failures. This is not an act of compassion, but rather a demonstration of poor administration. Under this scheme, residents who consistently pay their municipal accounts on time each month receive no benefit, while those who fail to comply are rewarded with discounts of up to 50%. The DA fundamentally rejects this approach as it destroys the culture of payment and undermines honest ratepayers. It sends the message that doing the right thing in Mangaung is of no value, eroding the incentive for residents to engage in responsible financial behavior. The DA assesses governments by tangible results rather than excuses. The Auditor General of South Africa has reported that Mangaung consistently fails to meet service delivery targets and underperforms in managing outcomes. Residents continue to suffer from persistent issues such as broken street lights, frequent sewer spillages, ongoing water leaks, neglected and unsafe open spaces, unreliable water supply, and roads riddled with potholes that put lives at risk. Most recently, a catastrophe failure of the electricity infrastructure caused by a lack of maintenance further exemplified the consequences of ongoing ANC neglect. Despite these ongoing problems, residents are being asked to pay more each year while receiving progressively less in return. The scheme is being introduced at a time when a new general valuation role will be implemented. Property rates are increasing and the overall cost of living continue to rise. Rather than addressing inefficiencies by cutting waste, improving billing systems, or enforcing accountability and performance, the ANC's response is to increase the financial burden on compliant residents to improve the municipality's figures superficially. Every year when the Auditor General report is presented, the ANC consistently fail to account for key issues. They do not explain where the money has gone, why infrastructure continues to deteriorate, or why service delivery remains stagnant. Speaker, the DA will support this item, but we need to reward compliant ratepayers in the future. Thank you, Speaker.
No, thank you. As you were talking, I was wondering whether are you finally going to say you reject I heard you making many statements, but nonetheless, thank you for that contribution. Let me acknowledge Councillor Mongale.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Dr. Mathae. This debt incentive scheme policy for the 1st of March 2026 up until 30th of June 2027 brings hope to the municipality in terms of that recollection. But we also need to appreciate the effort, because when I saw the document and I read first portion of it, and I hear that he's saying that a person must pay a deposit of 30%, I said, this is gonna fail. Up until I read another portion that says, where you are unable to to pay 50% as a lump sum, you are allowed to come and make an arrangement on how you should pay that 50%. I was making a practical example to say, if I owe 80,000, now I have to give municipality 24,000, which is 30%, before I can be able to qualify for any reduction on the debt. And I felt that this is a process that will defeat many people, including myself, in terms of dealing with this issue, if we have to deal with it in the same way it was couched on the first part of it. But the second part is addressing the element of incapacity to pay a lump sum, that you can still make an arrangement, and while you are making an arrangement, you still also have to make sure that you keep on servicing the current debt, so that you must not make an arrangement once you are done with the arrangement and then you are on the new default of owing again, because you have serviced the old debt with passion, but not knowing that the current debt is also going to accumulate to be another bad debt. Now, I was also hoping, and now the commissioner have left, I was hoping that maybe he might raise it with his colleagues at the level of the province to say, you can't be a provincial legislature and be told you are in good standing when you owe the municipality services. You can't be in good standing. That does not qualify you. Even Minister of Finance, he can't address finance speech if he owes municipal services. He is disqualified from reading the speech. The president cannot give SOPA if he's owing the municipality services. The same goes with the premiers. Same goes with ourselves here. With us, we are able to deduct it from our salary, but why are we not extending the same arrangement to the level of the province to say, as a province, you must also pay your dues as part of your responsibility, because you are part of governance. And you can't make local government an orphan to say, with local government, you're on your own, local government must find creative ways of looking for money from those people, but there's no one who's going to be held politically obliged to be able to pay their services to this institution. On the issue of the gaps that are there, we have spoken about investment summit. If you don't generate income, you are not going to be able to address the issue of debt. It will keep on coming. You'll pardon people, there will be another new default because the economy is not growing. We need an investment summit. We need to clarify the role of sitters. At the moment, the sitters are sitting there in town somewhere, Bram. They are having coffees, lunch. They go to Ocean Basket, the CEOs of sitters. They sit there and have good time. They are not addressing the fundamentals to say, what is the mandate of sitter? Mandate of sitter is to make sure that they upskill our people so that our people are employable. What is the municipality doing? Municipality is not pushing sitters. To say, sitters, you must play your role in our municipality because your sleeping on duty is affecting our finances as municipality. The financial sector, the banks and other funding institutions, NEF, IDC, and all these wonderful institutions that you mentioned during election, where are they in terms of helping our people to get funding for businesses? There is a man who came to Investment Summit who said, I'm making a new oil with old tires. The man is from Mathae. That man didn't get assistance. I don't know whether he didn't get assistance because he's from Mathae, or he didn't get assistance because he failed to give people cards to say, I'll do the cat matala on you if you can give me this particular amount of money. Because that is all that is missing. But these are the issues that needs to be addressed for us to be able to move forward. In the absence of that, we'll be talking here. Next year, we'll still be talking the same. Thank you, Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you, Councillor Foster.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. All protocols observed. The Freedom from Plus oppose a proposed debt incentive scheme policy. While the administration presents this as a solution to improve cash flows, it is in reality a symptom of the ongoing financial mismanagement in the Metro. Our first and most fundamental objection is one of fairness. We are clear. It is not fair to burden regular, faithful payers of services to subsidize those who do not pay. The majority of this council approves the same scheme in 2023-2024 financial year, extended the scheme for another 6 months in the 24-25 financial year, and wrote off 2.2 billion rand in interest as so-called irrecoverable debt. By rewarding non-payment, the majority of this council is actively destroying the culture of payment that is essential for the function of this municipality, while faithful payers are not rewarded. That is why the Freedom from Plus provided the administration and executive with a proposed good payer incentive policy in January of this year, which will provide a structured benefit to consumers who consistently pay their accounts in full and in time. The report admits that roughly 85% of outstanding debts is already over 90 days old. This is a staggering admission of the total failure in credit control and revenue management. Instead of fixing the billing system, this administration continues to reach for quick fix schemes. The policy is a paper exercise to clean the books without addressing the root causes of the problem. We need to address a culture of non-payment by ensuring equal payment for equal services. We need fiscal discipline, not the condoning of non-payment. Furthermore, Honourable Speaker, the majority of the debt that was written off during the first round of this scheme related to the interest component of the outstanding accounts. Because this council wrote off the interest on all accounts, the majority of the debt that will be written off during the duration of this scheme will relate to the capital component of the outstanding accounts. Writing off interest may be one thing, Honourable Speaker, but writing off collectible capital is unacceptable and will have a negative financial implication for this metro. Lastly, Honourable Speaker, this scheme will once again be used as a convenient collection mechanism by the metro's appointed debt collectors. While the employees of this metro will be responsible for implementing and administrating the scheme and collecting the funds, the debt collectors will receive the 8% commission while doing nothing from their side to collect the handover accounts. I thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Peter.
Thank you, Speaker. Today I'm in a good mood. I don't want to fight with nobody. But let me appreciate Councillor Mungale. It's a clear indication that you can read. And definitely you understand the position that I'm coming from earlier on when I said there was a need for us to amend those policies. Definitely that's that point number 4 there, that bullet number 4 on the debt incentive. It was exactly to address that. And it tells you that a government that listens to its citizens, it does things the right way. We went out last year with this program. First time, again, as councillors of 2020, from 2021. We learned things that we needed to improve. Amongst them, it was this issue of 30%. That community members had an issue. As the African National Congress, we went back and amended the policy in line with the needs of the people. That's why we are having that section there, to exactly address that. Thank you very much, Ndate Mangale. But it's surprising today. Some councillors are standing tall here in this council chamber, telling us that this program is no good, don't. Last year they were standing here, clapping hands because we managed to collect around 150 million through this program. Today it's elections, with this program. Here they know very well, the very same Auditor General raised an issue to say that in the first quarter you cannot collect 79.2. The baseline is that at least you should be around 80 something up so that you can reach the norm of 90% or 95 or 90 as a metro. Cannot be proper. Councillors like to grandstand where it's not necessary. With the lives of our own people. I want to iterate some few things. The very same councillors last year, they were standing here saying, why are we retaining community members in the booths from the revenue section? It's because precisely we didn't have this section. We have included this section. It's an issue again. For what good reason? For whose benefit? For political party? Or the people that are serving you? It cannot be proper. It cannot be right. We are beginning again with this program. It will assist the city to generate revenue, as we have indicated earlier on. And Councillor Bosma is proper, is right, to say we need to have this in order to boost the cash flow of the city. We need this program. So therefore, Speaker, I don't have words. In actual fact, we should applaud this administration for listening to us, to say, go and make changes that are necessary so that our people can benefit from this program. Lastly, Speaker, I need to indicate, we've been saying Mangaung is affected, it has a high number of unemployment. As councillors, as per the stats, we are trying to do this to augment that in terms of the CPI and so on and so forth. But today we are having a problem. Instead of assisting and making sure that this program is received, is well received. Lastly, the very same city of Johannesburg is having the phase 4 of this very same program, Speaker, because they realized that this program is working. They started it in November 2025. They are concluding it now on the 31st of October this year because they've seen this is one of the best mechanism or model of making sure that the city is able to collect revenue. With those words, Speaker, I'm saying, councillors, please always think straight when you want to speak to the community. I thank you.
Thank you.
Point of order. Point of order. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just to the gentleman that spoke now, how's it going with the indigent register? Because people are still waiting for those services. Thank you.
Speaker, I can respond. The very same gentleman, he's got a representative in the Section 8 of Finance. He knows exactly how far are we with the indigent register and the program that was approved by council. In our last council of January, we approved that indigent, everything that has to do with indigent application and the indigent relief. Why is he not asking the rep? Because he knows exactly what is happening there. We can't come here and grandstand because it's elections. No ways.
Sure. Thank you, Deputy Executive Mayor.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I just want to support Councillor Kondile and also support Councillor Bothma because they really give this council what was deliberated in the Section 80. What I wanted to add is that the Section 80 of Finance will also come in this council and bring the recommendation where we are saying even those people who are paying very well, Councillor Mungali, were in engagement with an FNB, the Bank of the Municipality, that we must have a partnership where we must reward those people who are not only doing for those who are not paying well, but we are also doing for those who really remember every month they must pay their services. We'll also come in this council and bring that item, and I will hope that honorable councillors will support us on that initiative, Honorable Speaker. I then support Councillor Kondile and Councillor Bothma on the issues that they raise in this council. Thank you very much.
Thank you, councillors. That concludes the debates on this item. May I now see hands of those who are in support of the recommendations contained in the report for the approval of the debt incentive scheme for the new participants. May I now see hands of those in favor of those recommendations? All right, 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Those against? Abstentions? Thank you, colleagues. Those in favor, it's 72. Those against, 5, 0 abstentions. May we now proceed to 26.3. 26.3, I have the following speakers. Councillor Mhlame, and Councillor Snyman, and lastly Councillor Mungale, and lastly Councillor Lekgeto. PA Snyman from the DA, and Councillor Snyman from Freedom Front Plus. And then Councillor Lekgeto, Councillor De Hayes, in that order. You may start, Councillor Mhlame.
Thank you, Speaker. The DA would like to ask the following clarity-seeking questions. What disciplinary measures are taken against councillors or employees who repeatedly fall into areas? What measures are in place to prevent areas from accumulating in the first place? How is compliance monitored to ensure fairness and accountability? As the DA, we don't have any issues with deductions, but can the municipality please render services to the residents? Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Snyman.
Thank you, Speaker. As my colleague, let me state from the outset, the DA does not oppose accountability. If councillors and officials owe the municipality money, they must pay. We support consequence management. But accountability must apply to everybody, including this executive. And this report raises serious questions. Firstly, how is it accepted by the executive that the deductions are made directly from the salaries of municipal staff without proper consent, while the very services they are paying for continue to collapse? Many areas consistently do not get their refuse removed. I challenge you to find a street that hasn't had a sewage spill in the last 12 months, or a treatment plant that is functioning as it should. After decades of warnings regarding the water and water infrastructure of Mangaung, you aren't getting it right. Even with millions poured into it, you keep letting the residents of Mangaung open up dry taps. Again this week, we experienced citywide outages of electricity due to a little rain and a transformer failure, despite warnings that that exact transformer will blow due to being more than 4 decades old. The administration knew. You were warned. You did nothing. And that is the heart of the issue. So in his absence, through you, Mr. Speaker, I would like to ask Mayor Ntatisi the following question. How does he explain the lack of action and improvement to the infrastructure of Mangaung with such an aggressive collection strategy from residents and officials? Of course, everyone should pay their municipal bill, but what we are giving them, or what this council is giving them, in return is not governance. It is selective enforcement of certain rules while always pointing the finger at someone else for your own failures. Secondly, Q1, August 2025, reflects an increase of only 5 accounts, yet municipal debt jumps up by nearly 7 million rand. 5 accounts, 7 million rand, which also just disappears from the amount in September 2025, without an indication of having been paid. Where did that 7 million go? Who are these councillors or officials with that level of debt, and apparently the means to make it disappear overnight? Can we please get the names and specific amounts while in committee at the next council meeting? How does any municipal employee accumulate such amount of debt without intervention long before it reaches the millions? Q2 shows the same pattern. 5 additional accounts in November, adding 1.6 million. 3 additional accounts in December, adding 1.4 million. A strong contrast from October 2025, adding 136 accounts, but only 500,000. That's just a little bit of an interesting note. This is not random. This is a pattern. It indicates either the system being exploited or favor being shown to the friends of the ANC. Which is it? I'll close with this, Speaker. This is not how the DA governs. Please follow the words of your own president and learn from us for the sake of the residents of Mangaung. This is not how we present financial information. This is not how a functioning administration presents financial information or operates. As always, this report is incomplete and it reflects disturbing levels of carelessness or worse. We will not normalize half reports and financial patterns that raise red flags. Fix your reporting, fix your systems, and fix your governance. Because right now, this document reeks of incompetence or corruption, and neither is acceptable to the DA, to this council, or to the people of Mangaung. Then just on a final note, luckily the days of the ANC is numbered with elections drawing nearer every single day. Thank you, Speaker.
Raadslid Snyman van Deventer.
Dankie, agbare Speaker. Die Vryheidsfonds plus wil eerstens die Finanskomitee bedank dat hierdie belangrike item wel voor die raad gebring word. Dit is 'n noodsaaklike stap om aanspreeklikheid en verantwoordbaarheid te verseker en om 'n kultuur van betaalverdienste weer binne ons eie munisipaliteit te versterk, veral in 'n tyd waarin die metro in 'n ernstige finansiële situasie is. Maar ons moet die volgende kritiese vraag vir duidelikheid vra. And I did ask it already in a previous council meeting in English, so maybe I will get an answer if I ask it in Afrikaans. Terwyl daar aftrekkings gemaak word om die agterstallige skuld te delg, hou hierdie raadslede en werknemers terselfdertyd steeds hulle lopende rekening op datum. Met ander woorde, betaal hulle dit wat hulle per maand verskuldig is, bykomend tot dit wat elke maand afgetrek word. Die vraag is dus, is ons werklik besig om die skuld te verminder, of is ons slegs besig om agterstallige historiese skuld te delg? Hierdie onderskeid is belangrik as hierdie inisiatief as 'n sinvolle en volhoubare impak gesien word op die metro se finansiële posisie. Dankie, Speaker.
Dankie, Raadslid Die Huis.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Kondi. The economic freedom fighters rise to engage the matter of councillors and municipal employees who owe money to the municipality, a matter that speaks directly to the question of ethical leadership and accountability in local government. This report dealing with the salary deduction exposes a fundamental contradiction in the governance of this municipality, because those entrusted with the responsibility to govern and administer the municipality must themselves demonstrate discipline in meeting their financial obligation to the same institution they serve. Mense mas elmut betal. Chairperson, the crisis of governance in local government is not only about finances, but about political culture. South Africa has developed a political culture in which public office is sometimes treated as a source of privilege rather than responsibility. When councillors and officials owe the municipality, it reflects a deeper crisis of leadership and accountability. The EFF believes that a revolutionary, I'm a revolutionary, but can't take responsibility. Revolutionary leadership requires discipline and personal responsibility, and that those who govern must demonstrate integrity in both public and private conduct. The EFF has always maintained that leadership must begin with example. It cannot be correct that ordinary residents are subjected to disconnection, penalties, and aggressive debt collection measures, whilst councillors and municipal officials accumulate municipal debt. When public representatives fail to honor that obligation, their obligation, they undermine the legitimacy of municipality itself. Inequality is reinforced when leaders are protected from consequences that ordinary people must face. The poor are disconnected for small amounts, while politically connected individuals accumulate large debts without consequences. This creates a perception that there are two systems of governance, one of the powerful and one of the powerless. Therefore, salary deduction may be a necessary mechanism to ensure that councillors and employees settle their debts with the municipality. However, much measures must not be implemented selectively or inconsistently. There must be fairness, transparency, and uniform application of the rules so that no individual is protected because of the political connection or administrative influence. The EFF stands firmly for accountability, transparency, and ethical leadership. And we will continue to insist that those who govern must lead by example and that no one must be above the rules. I thank you.
Thank you, Raadslid De Hees. Raadslid van Mongale.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Dr. Mathae. I support most of what Councillor Dipale have said, and I'm also of the belief that this scheme is going to be used consistently. But I would also appreciate if this scheme can also be extended to legislature, because I believe that they stay within Mangaung. Those who are staying within the Mangaung jurisdiction, they have properties and they must also pay. The parliamentarians who have properties in Mangaung, they must also pay. And it must also be made known to them to say, if you don't pay your services at the level of municipality, you must know this municipality must also declare you a person non grata. That would mean you are not fit and proper to lead, even in Cape Town. You can't lead in parliament because you owe the municipality. So who are you representing? And whose interest are you protecting? Because you are unable even to show a character of being loyal at the point of just paying for services that have been rendered to you. But it must also be a two-way stream. The municipality must also be honorable. You can't have a situation whereby the community pays or their money is being deducted from their salary, but the refuse is collected as if it's a gambling or it's lotto. People are saying, lucky, but the fanda. And then people must always be afraid to put their bin outside the yard because they are afraid that they will end up being consumed by dogs because they are not collected overnight. And you are causing conflict in the community with that because some of the people are taking their refuse far away from their homes. They're taking them to the tar road. And when the refuse truck does not come, there is a crisis. Now, all I'm saying is that the legislatures must also try to play their part. In this particular case, Mangaung must write a letter to legislature to say, the Speaker of Legislature, we are asking you to check your members of legislature, whether are they paying their dues in the Mangaung Metro. In case they are not paying, you must declare them, you must know Mangaung has declared them person non grata, and we also want you to do the same, because you can't have a situation where one organ of state is fighting the other organ of state. Because if they fail to pay us, it means there is a war. Someone is saying, I will consume your product, but I will not pay. And when it comes to us, if we defy, SARS comes and deduct from Mangaung, even though Mangaung does not have SARS. But Mangaung complies with national legislations. So why can't they comply with municipal legislation? Because local government is also a distinct sphere of government, and it has a right to exist. It is not existing at the behest of the provincial government or the national government. It is existing because it's a sphere that is closer to the people. Someone said it earlier to say it is it is the mayor who said it is the face of service delivery. But now that face of service delivery must also be honored by being given what is due to it so that it is able to discharge its duties efficiently. There can't be a crisis where when senior politicians or public representatives have to pay Mangaung, you are told, no, it's not their sphere. We are only limited to local government. But these are the people who are staying within the jurisdiction of Mangaung, and they're also public representatives. There must be a code of conduct towards their behavior. If that code of conduct does not enforce them to pay for services, that code of conduct is wrong and it needs to be reviewed. And who must review it? It's Cllr, but through Mangaung's influence. To say we are making a submission to say there must be a policy that forces members of legislature and members of parliament to pay for services in the municipality. The same applies to Untatele Sechakhanyago. You can't say that Reserve Bank owing the municipality and we take it, no, it's a governor or Reserve Bank. No, when we are like that, you are stealing from the people. You are a thug. And you need to be called what you are and what you deserve to be. I knew there are people who love the governor more than anyone else, but governor is not everything.
Say that councillor must not sleeping, man. There's no sleeping time. The councillor must not sleep there, man. There's no sleeping time.
Thank you. Councillor Lekgeto.
Honorable Speaker, Dr. Mathae, Executive Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Chief Whip, councillors, official, but Mangaung. Speaker, this item is very interesting item because it's a policy that we pass through council. It's very interesting when you get councillors ask questions, accountability, or a lot of things. While that policy is there for everybody to go and just read on the policy. Because we all pass that policy through this council. And as a municipality, we continue to implement and approve credit control and debt collection policy and relevant legislation. And it is required by our financial recovery plan to submit report on deduction from councillors and officials of the municipality on quarterly basis. We go to Code of Conduct, Speaker. It will guide us as councillors that we're supposed to pay our debt that we owe to municipality. There is a question that was asked by the first councillor of the DA, which some of those questions they need to ask to go to the policy itself to answer. I will suggest that he write Rule 38 and ask for those questions so that he can get a clear answers on those questions. But we as the ANC Speaker, because the item is for noting, we support the item and its recommendation as it is. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Kondi.
Just saying, if you allow me, just a second.
No, you were not on my order paper. That item was for noting. We will deal with that item. It is noted as such. The following item will be dealt with by Councillor Mokgotwane, Chairperson. Yeah, it's item 26.4. Approval of funding adjustment budget for Muscle Sport water treatment and purification plant operational costs. I have the following councillors, Councillor Martins, Councillor Sokaka, Deputy Executive Mayor. Any other hand? Councillor Denner, Councillor De Bruin, lastly Councillor Mongale. You may take over, Councillor Mokotwan.
Thank you very much, Speaker, for the opportunity. We are on item 26.4, and the speakers are as follows. Okay. The speakers are as follows. The first speaker will be Councillor Martins.
Honourable Speaker, Executive Mayor in his absence, Executive Deputy Mayor, honourable colleagues, everybody present today, our honourable councillors, members of the media, public, greetings to you all. The Democratic Alliance has considered item 26.4 on today's agenda, and it's a request for 50 million rand of so-called unforeseen and unavoidable expenditure.
Sorry, Chairperson. Sorry, Chairman. Councillor Martin, with all due respect, councillors, really what is happening? Please, you are disturbing the speakers and they need to address the House properly. We apologize, Councillor Martin.
Thank you very much, Council Whip. Perhaps you should go back to peanuts. Council Martin, your time starts now.
Thank you, Council Whip. I really appreciate. Thank you. May you all be greeted. The Democratic Alliance has considered item 26.4 on today's agenda, and it's a request for 50 million rand in so-called unforeseen and unavoidable expenditure for the Marshallspoort water treatment facility and its link to the Mokkies Dam. Let me be clear from the onset. Clean water is not optional. It is a basic service. It is a constitutional right. So as a Democratic Alliance, we have consistently supported in the past increased funding for repairs and maintenance. Let it be known, we will never stand in the way of safe drinking water for all residents. But, Honourable Speaker, if I may through you in his absence also address the Executive Mayor, let me briefly digress and you'll soon see why and where I'm going with this. I wish to just quickly go back to this weekend, and I want to thank all of the stakeholders, all the relevant parties that helped at the Basewater DC. Thanks to the Fire Brigade, Cllr, and I also need to thank many councillors from different political parties that went there and they tried their best to communicate what was happening on the ground, because the people that are usually last to know are our taxpayers and the people that pay Cllr fees, the community. They are usually last in line. But at the same time, I must thank our Executive Mayor for being there. I truly believe that his intervention sped up the whole process. However, I must also address, and this is where I'm going about this item before us today, because yesterday on social media, on the ANC My Mangaung page, there was this caption that said, ANC in Mangaung foils DA plans to dim the lights. Can you believe it? Victory to the people. Now, honestly, this is misleading and it's embarrassing. To suggest that we, who are also affected by this loss of power, now don't want electricity for ourselves is feeble and really desperate. So that brings me to today's item. Once again, we find ourselves in a very precarious position. Why? Because we will be damned today by the very same ANC followers, not the councillors, the followers, or the admin of that page. We will be damned we will be damned today if we vote for this, and we'll be damned today if we don't vote for this. That is the problem. The problem is this report, and this frequently serves in council. Please know that we will never stand in the way of safe drinking water. It's not negotiable. And the whole council will actually agree on that. But we cannot support a clean water. We cannot sign a blank check that is here presented to us. This report is very similar to many documents that serve in council regularly. It's very vague. There's no proper cost breakdowns. There's no clear timelines. Where is the detailed explanation of how the money will be procured for chemicals and operations and maintenance? Where is it? I cannot find it. We are being asked today to approve a large reallocation of funds, including money intended to reduce water losses, without sufficient detail. Now, that is not good governance. The funding model raises further questions. If you know what is happening at the Leslie Mononyani building, and I'm there regularly, I'm there at least once a week, at the water metering department. The people there, the officials, are severely undercapacitated with the water metering refurbishments. The two service providers, Iceberg and Big Twins, are also out of their depth. Not because I'm saying they are bad contractors. All I'm saying is only two contractors. So I'm going to conclude today that to say, we ask that you will send this report back, but if you force us to vote on this, we will vote in favor of this. I thank you.
Okay. Next in line to speak is Councillor Denner. Your time starts now, Councillor Denner. Councillor Denner, your time starts now.
Thank you. Speaker, there's an urgent request for additional funding for the Mosselsport water treatment and purification plant. While this report before us characterizes the current situation and specifically the spike in raw water turbidity to 55.7 as unforeseen and unavoidable, a closer look at this municipality's own financial history suggests a different story. We've been asked to approve 20 million for emergency chemicals and 30 million for operations and maintenance under Section 29 of the MFMA, which is reserved for unexpected crises. However, if we look at the trends, this emergency looks more like a recurring failure to budget for known seasonal realities. This happens every year in the raining season. Every year, we sit with the same thing. I have the following critical clarity-seeking questions. Why was the 2025-2026 budget for water treatment chemicals significantly reduced when costs have been rising for years? The sources show that actual expenditure on chemicals has climbed steadily from 11.2 million in 2022 to 25 million in 2024-2025. Despite this clear upward trend, the budget for 2025-2026 was set at 15.8 million, nearly 10 million rand less than what was actually spent the previous year. How can the administration claim a shortfall is unforeseen when they intentionally budgeted far below established historical costs? Is this really unforeseen, or is this a predictable consequence of the rainy season and known upstream issues? This report cites untreated upstream effluent and elevated turbidity as the cause of this crisis. But Speaker, these environmental factors are not new to Mangaung during this time of the year. Why are these factors not integrated into the budget, instead being treated as a surprise every year this time? How do we justify an additional 30 million for operations in maintenance when previous actuals were a fraction of this? In 2023-2024, the actual expenditure was 3.9 million, and in 2024-2025, it was 6.8. Now we are told that an additional 30 million is needed for emergency maintenance. Or is this for an election? This report mentions a backlog of works, including pumping efficiency upgrades and temporary services. These are backlog items by definition. They were known to the municipality long before this unforeseen event. Why were these not included in the original 2025-2026 budget? And what is the long-term plan to move away from management by crisis? We are told that these funds will be diverted from other critical areas, such as the revenue improvement program, the meter replacement program. But by raiding the meter replacement budget to pay for emergency chemicals that we have seen coming, are we not just creating the next financial crisis for ourselves? It surely seems like that. Mr. Speaker, calling a predictable seasonal event an unforeseen emergency to bypass standard budgetary procedures is a disservice to the taxpayers of Mangaung. We need a budget that reflects the reality of our water quality challenges, not a document that fails to learn from data of the last 3 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Denner. Councillor Brain, you are next. Your 5 minutes starts now.
Thank you, Speaker. I'd just like to ask, Speaker, why is this item today in council? Because our people are not doing their job in order, because this item was not being served in the Section 80 committee before it's going to come to council. I did done an oversight report with the MMC and the committee on the muscle sport treatment plant. To go there and see a lot of material is lying around. But to speak about money first, and you didn't finish your job in time, then you want to come and ask for an adjustment budget. How can we give you an adjustment budget, but there's still a lot of material that's lying around there? The term is already been finished, but the material is lying around there. So, for us to do the right thing, because we asked them to give us a split in a report of all the amounts that was been paying to them. Because we want to see is the job value about the money that we was paying them. Because, you know, some contractors, they take chances here and they're wasting the taxpayers' money. And that time is over now with all these projects that they are running here in the municipality. So we will ask them for a fully investigation in this project. Although this water that they are pushing from that Massaspruit to my community as Heidedal, we are not unhappy. We are happy what they done for our community of Heidedal with the service delivery, but there need to be going an investigation through that project with that contractors, because the job is not value the money. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Brain. We're quite on time. The next speaker is Councillor Mungali. Your time starts now, Councillor Mungali. Councillor De Hayes.
No, thank you very much, Chairperson of the session. Chair, I know that you are opposition. I just want to check with Councillor De Bray if his input is that of the PA or the Section 80 committee that went to do an oversight at Musselsport. Because I strongly feel that he's misrepresenting the findings of the Section 80 committee under the leadership of Councillor Theo that went to Musselsport. If it's the position of his party, well and good, but it can't be that of the Section 80 committee that went to Musselsport. Thank you very much, Chair. I just want that clarity.
That is my investigation under my party, and that's why I did ask if the committee can investigate on that matter, because I was part and parcel with the committee at that project. Thank you.
So it's a personal as well as a party view, not the Section 80 view.
Sorry, Chairperson, like I said, we ask that they must refer this back to the 18th section committee, because we did agree that they need a fully split report of all the payments that was being done there on that project.
Councillor Mongali, your time starts now.
Thank you, Chair. Watch some Zavalas. The issue here is that we, as African Alliance of Social Democrats, we support the budget for Musselsport water treatment and purification plant. The issue that is only disturbing is that when you look at the cost of chemicals, it shows that by midterm it was 13 million. And then the projected amount is that by the end of financial year 2025, 2026, it will be 26 million, which makes perfect sense mathematically. And then when you look at the other one, the one that talks about operation costs, midterm it is 17,280,781. But the projected forecast is 47 million. Mathematically, it doesn't make sense. If it is 17 million by now, midterm, and then by the end of financial year, you're expecting that we would have moved for another half. Another half at least is 34 million, 35, 37. It's acceptable, those margins. But it can't go to 47 million. The other 10 million, it was a bit for it is for what? Because mathematically, it doesn't make sense that you'll just have extra energy in the last minute and be able to spend almost everything. I don't know how many hours you'll be working that you could not work now. So someone didn't do their mathematics properly, or someone didn't give us proper information so that we are able to make a proper decision. The figures might be correct that it is 47 million. Maybe there might be other reasons that are pushing it to go to 47 million. But they are not included here for us to understand what are those other issues that are additional that will lead to the operational cost to become 47 million. Except to assume that there is something fishy, onka ket matala, onka Shadrach Sibia. Because we have not found anything, but if we are convinced otherwise to say, but these calculations have been made, but there is an error, it's not 47, it's 37, I would gladly accept. But if it's 47, but it's also justifiable effects, it is fine. But help us to understand. Because I think here there is a problem of mathematics. Figures don't tally, and logic also does not fit here, because you can't have that extra energy in the last quarter of the year and you outperform yourself to an extent that you are doing almost double of what you did in the first quarter. That is impossible. So someone needs to help us to understand. Chairperson, I don't want to waste your time. I just wanted to be clarified only on that issue. Once I'm clarified on that issue, I'll support the issue, because the issue of people getting water is a matter of life and death. We don't have a choice, we have to support it. But let us also be clarified on the issue.
Thank you, Councillor Mongali. You are saying one plus one is not two, according to your mathematics. The next in line will be the deputy mayor. Is it deputy mayor or okay, Councillor Sodaka? Go on.
Thank you, Chairperson. Maybe this, it needs to be understood from the context that our intention is to increase the capacity, firstly, of Mathae Sport, so that we are not necessarily reliant 100% on the VAR Central, but we are able to generate and reuse our own water. Secondly, the reason why it is captured under recommendation that is an unforeseen and unavoidable situations that require us to request additional funding. It is an appreciation that the asset itself, it has more than 20 years lifespan. Now, during the process of trying to increase the capacity, there are other things that has been discovered underground which are not part of the current drawings, which are causing more delay, more expenditure. Hence the request that we must be able to be assisted so that we conclude the process of Mathae Sport and we are able to supply the residents of Mangaung with water uninterrupted. So that is the reason why all these things. The calculation, the deputy mayor will deal with them. I wanted to deal with that principal part, that we have discovered some pipes that are not there in the drawings, and we can't find them anywhere in the city. So that is the challenge that we're faced with. But we support the item as it is so that we move with speed to deliver services. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sogata. Mujamra Khosi, Deputy Mayor.
No, thank you very much, Chairperson. No, I really want to also to support this item. Honorable Councillors, it's not about us. It's about the community who want to drink the clean water. You can't drink a clean water if you are not maintaining that clean water. That is why we're talking about chemicals that's supposed to make sure that we are cleaning a clean water. I want to support you, Councillor Martin, when you said clean water is clean water, our people must drink clean water. But that clean water, you must process it first before you can give people a clean water, which is you must use chemicals to clean that water. My councillor, my brother, under motivation, point 3, because I want to talk about the calculations that we talk about, that it says the approval by council will enable continue operational activities and the utilization of this Section 29 approval for settlement of current and upcoming emergency-related invoice. Remember, when you do calculation and the project is continuing, you can't say the project is 90,000. Remember, there are processes, like as they are working now, there were rains, there were issues of laboratory, there are many things that happen in between. We still have to pay. The current matters that happened while they were busy maintaining the Mathae sport. As Councillor Vusi is saying, you know that Mathae sport is not for today. And it does have long ago pipes, which is we have to always maintain them. You clean Mathae sport today, when you open a tap, the people who are staying in North, they will adhere with me. You'll see brown water while they are busy cleaning that water, while they are busy putting chemicals. And I thought that Councillor Vusi will indicate that the number of chemicals that we are using for Mathae sport, we are using more than we are buying because of the aging of the infrastructure of the Mathae sport. Now the calculation it's about that. And we are requesting the council to approve this because the Auditor General also mentioned the matter of the Mathae sport, that we must finish the issue of Mathae sport. We must make sure that we save 30-70% for value water. We must have savings as the city and really give our people a clean water. You know the water is a dignity. Now, if we are not making sure as this council, we put a certain amount aside and making sure that we bring that dignity to our people. I know today we'll talk politics, but it's not about us. People who are crying is those people. Councillor Martin says they are not sleeping when the water is, when we don't have water in the northern side. I know that we also receive calls. Councillor Vusi is not sleeping, the mayor is sleeping, and the councillors. I know Councillor Pretorius is not sleeping from South Pan side. I know. Now we want to deal with that matter. Let's fast track the issue of the maintenance of the Mathae sport. Because really, it's not about election, it's about the dignity of our people. Thank you very much. I support the item, Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, clarity. Mr. Speaker, clarity, please. Mr. Speaker. So, Acting Chair.
Chair, can I speak?
You're raising on what point, Councillor?
I was submitted. I am rising to second my colleague. Yes. Okay. All right. Can I speak? Okay. Thank you, Chair. Sorry, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Chair, yes, I am rising to second my colleague. He alluded to the quality of the reports, and we tried to make sense of the report in our caucus, and it was not an easy task. Following the oversight visit that we had together with the IDP committee. But listening to the two MMC speaking, it makes one even more concerned. Because our understanding from the report was that this relates to maintenance. And now I all the time hear the deputy mayor bringing in this project that's going on at Marselspoort. And there's no there's no mention of that in this report. And that is the concerns that we have with the quality of the reports. As many people here have said, we need Marselspoort to work. We cannot keep money for proper maintenance that is spent properly from Marselspoort. We every year say we need more maintenance, we need more repairs, refurbishment and upgrading. But Chair, if the chemicals are for the increase in sewage effluent that is in the river and to treat that, then that is a short-term solution. When we were there, I clearly understood that that plant was never designed to handle the amount of sewage that it is currently handling in the river. In order to be able to sustainably handle the amount of sewage we have in that river, we must upgrade the plant, we must budget for, and we must successfully and on time
implement an upgrading project to enable that plant to actually handle the amount of sewage that it's handling. So that makes sense to me why there's a lot of chemicals needed to now treat the water. But that's not the solution. That's a very short-term solution. Chairperson, yeah, I wanted to go on very long still about the problems we currently have with Marselspoort, the threat that we have to the sustainable electricity supply to Marselspoort. I want to urge the top leadership and management to make sure that we have sustainable electricity supply that doesn't kick off every 5 hours or 10 hours, and that we have redundancy in the system where if there's a problem with one line or one station, that we are able to supply Marselspoort with another station. We will have broken pumps if the pumps keep getting switched off because the electricity goes off without any warning. And those pumps are very expensive. Lastly, Chairperson, regarding the maintenance, I can vouch for it that there's a lot of maintenance needed, probably millions and millions and millions. The pumps need to be serviced, the electrical infrastructure need to be serviced on a daily, on a weekly and a monthly basis, ongoing, recurring. Every single day, every month, there needs to be a schedule and we need to be doing that. We haven't been doing that. It seems to me that we have improved on that. There has been a small improvement in the amount of maintenance that they are doing preventatively to the pumps and to the different components. But we are not where we should be. There's a lot more that needs to be done. But this report doesn't give us a lot of clarity on that. So we are requesting to refer it back to the Section 80 just to clarify the information on what exactly was it spent on, or is it going to be spent on, what needs to be still spent, what do we actually need, and are we getting it in the budget? Yes, Chairperson, that's my input. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Dipale, your hand was up earlier on. We're not on my list. Okay.
No, I was not on the list when I leadership. All that I was saying to the deputy mayor to say, let us encourage our people to backing the committees abone. Because sometimes koko shebile the way o leka go defender ka teng, yes, wa leka so e ka re o TB Joshua o. You are even saying bomanga ba duli mo ko re wa leka man, wa leka o ka ka motho o welang kha ga se motho ka ga ntotso ke fela ka ba ne ka tshwara fela. They are making you work overtime. You can't even hear yourself when you speak. I'm like listening to you. I'm so why. Oh, Deputy Mayor Mudimu. So all that I was saying is because people are not kept in line, you are now going to have to work overtime, and people are watching you out there. People are watching, and our people are not stupid, Baba. People are not stupid. Our people are looking out there to say, yes, Okoboni. Why defend the Kyoshebi or here? So please, Kopamba Tovalona Bayetse, because now Basebedi Salona and they make you look bad at the end of the day. They make you look bad. Thank you very much. That's all that I was saying.
Mr. Chair, just a clarity. Mr. Chair, just please. I know I'm not on the list. I just on the same thing of Marselspoort, sir. Sir, get a pin. Mr. Chair, they're talking about now Marselspoort, about the sewage, about everything.
You are not on my list, but I'm going to entertain you, really, for a minute. For a minute, I'm going to entertain you.
a minute, couple of seconds. Mr. Chair, our biggest solution is here. We're sitting there in Ada with a big hut, water dam. And let's use that water. There is no sewage in that water. Let municipality budget and build for something there, reservoir something. And then we don't have this problem. There's niet genoeg chemicals, there's niet genoeg geld. Ons strijden en beklei oor budget. Hij is 35 meter diep en hij is vol water. Maar ons boot is niet zo diep zoals hij waterdam. En hij water is skonig. Ons gaan gebruiken less chemicals voor die waterdam. Dat is maar net een suggestion wat ik maak. Hij staat daar, hij maakt ons dood. Zo kom ons gebruik jij water en ons voed. Dat is maar het voorstel wat ik maak.
Okay, this brings us to the end of the debate on this item. And the item is for approval. The item is for approval. So the recommendations are as follows. 1, that council takes note of the report on the unforeseen and unavoidable expenditure in terms of Section 21 of the FMA. 2, that council takes note and approve the expenditure that will be funded from own funds. I'm going to divide the house. Personal explanation. 1 minute.
Yeah, no, it will be much shorter, Chairperson. There was a proposal to refer it back. Normally, in this House, we then first deal with that. It was seconded twice by Councillor De Bruin and Councillor van der Walt. Should we not first entertain that before we entertain the item as it stands? I pray I'm shorter than a minute, Chairperson.
The item needs approval of the House, so I'm going to divide the House as per the recommendations. Was proposal seconded? That's okay. Could I see the hands? Okay, before could I have the hands of those who support the proposal as seconded? Feedback. I would like to see the hands. Secretariat, would you please help me count? And then can I buy some for count there. Against. Okay. Okay. Numbers, Ahmed? 40, 44 for referral. Can I see the hands of those who are against? Amen. 42 against. Can I see the hands of those who abstain? Those who abstain? 0. The item falls off. Voting for is 40 against 42 and 0 abstentions for referrals. Okay. Can you now proceed and vote as per the recommendations? May I see the hands of those who support? May I see the hands of those? Please help me, Secretariat. I can't see hands. I can't see those hands behind me. Give forward. Four. $64. 64. Hands for those who are against. Against.
We are voting.
We are voting now. We are voting. Thank you, Councillor Bram. Okay. Abstentions? May I see the hands? $12. Thank you very much. Yeah, good. Yeah, 64. 64 for, 5 against, and 12 abstentions. Okay. What's your point, Councillor Bram? We voted already.
Yes, Chairperson, I just want the community must note that the Praise Front vote against clean water because they need our poorest to the poorest votes. And I'm sick and tired that they can vote every time against our poorest and our poorest votes. Our people need clean water. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, that is not a point of order.
Sorry. Yeah, great. The tally size follows: 4, 64 against 5, and 12 abstentions. There's always a time for. There's always a first chance, Speaker. Thank you very much for the opportunity. A journey of 1,000 miles starts off with one step. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairperson Mokotwani, for presiding over this item. Thank you very much to all the colleagues who made their meaningful contribution on the item. We are now on item 65, 26.5, approval of funding pending adjustment budget, acquisition of land after successful exercising of a preemptive right, offer to purchase 10380 Bloemfontein, known as Naval Hill Lodge, currently owned by Transnet. I have the following speakers on that item: is Councillor Ramile, Councillor Bauer, Councillor Nhlapu, Deputy Executive Mayor. Any other hand? Councillor Foster. And that concludes my list. Thank you. You may proceed, Councillor Ramile.
Speaker. Deputy Mayor, facility na ra batla thabantsho. Botshabelo ke shoba sharp. All right, Honorable Speaker, Executive Mayor, members of the Council and residents of Mangaung, we meet today to decide on a matter that carries both historical weight and urgent relevance: the acquisition of ERF 10380 in Bloemfontein, known as Naval Hill Lodge. Under restoring our rights, This property was once of the city. In 1960, it was taken from railway housing, later vested in Transnet, and eventually sold to the Central University of Technology in 2022, without first being offered to us, as the title deed required. Through the legal processes, a settlement agreement, CUT has withdrawn its claim, and Mangaung now has the chance to exercise its rightful preemptive purchase. This is not just about land, it's about restoring the right that was denied to us and reclaiming space for our people. Why we need it? Colleagues, the challenges are clear. We do not have enough rental housing for families, students, and workers. We lack emergency housing for people displaced by fire, evictions, and disasters. We have no proper shelters for homeless residents and job seekers who sleep in an unsafe space. Naval Hill Lodge gives us a strategic asset to respond to these needs. It can be used for rental housing, emergency accommodations, and shelters, helping us meet our constitutional duty to provide access to adequate housing. Now, financial responsibility. The purchase price is 25.8 million, excluding transfer costs. Funding will come from, what? 12.5 million raised from land sales already approved by Council. The balance from slow-moving capital project and the legal fees budget. This ensures that we are not adding new burdens, but redirecting existing resources to a priority that directly benefits our residents. Now, on urban renewal, this acquisition supports our integrated development plan. It helps us rejuvenate the CBD, expand affordable rental housing, build a more compact, efficient, and inclusive city. By securing Naval Hill Lodge, we take decisive steps towards a Mangaung that is vibrant, fair, and prepared for the future. Now, in conclusion, honorable councillors, this is not just the financial decision, it's a moral one. By approving this acquisition, we restore the right that was denied to us, and we invest in dignity, housing, and hope for our people. To the executive mayor, there are questions that we would like you to clarify. Number one, how is the project going to be managed? Number two, is there a business plan for this project? Number three, how are you going to comply with NEMA and SPLUMA? As the Democratic Alliance therefore recommend that the council notes this report and approves the expenditure from our own funds, authorizing the Mangaung Metropolitan Municipality to acquire ERF 10380 Naval Hill Lodge. Let us act boldly, responsibly, and with compassion. I thank you, Speaker.
No, yena it is clear, agreed. Thank you, Councillor Ramile. Councillor Bauer.
Thank you, Speaker. I just need to give some clarity. I think there's just an explanation there. My fellow colleague might have just misinterpreted the background of the story. The property was owned as an empty site by the city and held in terms of the certificate of registration title number 2396/1959. And in 1960, the national government expropriated the property in terms of the Section 3A of the Railways and the Harbours Appropriation Act 22. Not the way he mentioned it initially. So we are for housing. I think there was just a slip of the tongue, my colleague. However, we need to make sure that we follow the SPLUMA as it states how we should go about the processes of acquiring this land for the purpose of human settlements. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bauer. Councillor Foster.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. This item is regarding to funds. This was approved by the majority of council to buy this land for 25.8 million on previous occasions. But as it may be, while the administration attempts to paint this as a strategic necessity, a closer look at the facts reveals a process that sidesteps fiscal discipline and stretches the definition of the law to its breaking point. The primary objection lies in the classification of this 25.8 million as unforeseen and unavoidable expenditure under Section 29 of the Municipal Finance Management Act. Speaker, let us be very clear about what the law requires. Section 29 is intended for genuine emergencies or exceptional circumstances that could not have been anticipated. Is this expenditure at this stage truly unforeseen? The sources tells a very different story. The city has been interested in this property since at least 2014. More importantly, this council passed a resolution to exercise its preemptive rights for the exact property in July 2024, nearly 2 years ago. In October 2024, another resolution explicitly stated that funds would be made available in a February 2025 adjustment budget. How can the executive now look us in the eye and claim that a property deal we have been actively litigating and resolving for years is unforeseen? This is not a sudden disaster or an unexpected court order. It's not a long-standing project that the administration failed to budget for correctly. Second question, is this expenditure unavoidable? The city claims a constitutional obligation to provide housing, yet it admits that there is no available land or buildings for emergency housing. While that may be true, the decision to spend 25.8 million on this specific property in the first place, a lodge, is a policy choice, not an unavoidable mandate. In a city where basic services delivery is crumbling, spending tens of millions on property acquisitions while failing to maintain existing infrastructure is a luxury we cannot afford. Furthermore, we must address the budgetary gymnastics presented in this report. The document openly admits that this expenditure could not be included in the adjustment budget because the Finance Directorate was only notified after the budget engagements were concluded and submitted to National Treasury. Speaker, this is an admission of the administrative incompetence, not justification for an emergency funding request. The fact that the Finance Directorate was left in the dark about a multi-million rand settlement until it was too late to follow the standard budget processes is a massive red flag. We are told that funds will come from slow-moving capital projects and the 20.5 million land sale that is still in the process of finalization. We are essentially being asked to spend money the city doesn't even have in hand yet. The MFA is clear. If an adjustment budget is not passed within 60 days of the expenditure being incurred, it becomes unauthorized expenditure. By bypassing the formal adjustment budget process and hiding behind Section 29, this council is risking further qualified audits and financial instability. In conclusion, the Freedom Hub cannot support this item. You cannot claim an emergency for a decade-old interest. You cannot claim unforeseen circumstances for a matter you resolved in the very chamber in 2024. This is a clear attempt to bypass proper budgetary oversight. We urge this council to reject this recommendation and demand that the administration bring this through the proper, transparent budget channels rather than trying to sneak it through as an unavoidable emergency. I thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Hlapu. No, you are the last. I can say we're not EFF training a
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Greetings to the House. Speaker, I think the item is quite clear. We are acquiring this building for the purposes that those that have also attended the safety in Daba would also recall that Councillor Dipali, we are acquiring this building for the same reasons that we have indicated in 2024 as Speaker, for the purposes of increasing our rental, and as it has been indicated that we have a backlog. And I think the Honorable Councillor Foster, the decision to buy the property was done in 2024, and I think the report was quite clear as to the court cases that took place between Transnet and when what was resolved, then it is what has put us here today. So it is not that we are sneaking it in. It is because now that we're the matter has been concluded in November last year, 2025, it is the adjustment budget to now indicate and be intentional in terms of acquiring that specific building. Now, the speech by Councillor Ramile, I am suspecting your speech was not subjected to your caucus. It is so progressive. But knowing your party, you are never for land. You come to this meeting, you have a speech that wants to tell the people of Mangaung that you are for land, you are for distribution of land, you are for people getting housing. People of Mangaung know the truth. That is not what you are for. That is not what you stand for. It is evident, I won't speak about things that are sub judice, but it is evident where your interests are. And the reason why I say it has not been subjected to your caucus, it is because it is pro-poor. Your speech was very progressive, was pro-poor. I don't know if it was your speech from as a member of this council or it was a grandstanding. But as we know yourselves, you are not for people of Mangaung getting land.
Okay.
You are not
Let me
for
take a
human
point of
settlement.
order.
You are always supporting
Let me take a
documents
point of order,
that speak-
Councillor.
I don't know whether MMC is addressing the issue at hand or she's addressing Councillor Ramile. She's totally out of order. Let her address the issue at hand, not Councillor Ramile. And she's not part of this caucus. Are we getting paid away? Are we getting paid? Are we getting paid? Speaker, can you protect me from that ugly grandfather? Because I'm trying to speak here.
Order, councillors, please. Can you allow the
No.
councillor to?
Is this what you're teaching your kids? That when people are speaking, you interject? That is very low of you. Respect other people so they respect you back. Respect other people.
Councillor.
You see,
Councillor.
Speaker, I'm not going to entertain you. This is the result of electing illiterate people. I'm not going to entertain you.
All right,
What I'm
councillor,
going to emphasize
can you make your point of order?
Yes,
Councillors, order, please.
I'm asking that the MMC address the issue at hand and not directly address Councillor Ramile. And she's not part of our caucus.
Okay.
For her to allude what we believe in and not believe in.
Point
Please.
of order sustained. Councillor, can you address the matter at hand?
Okay, no, that's fine. I won't address Councillor Ramile. I'm addressing the content of his speech, which I suspect, and I'll still say, that it was not subjected to the caucus of the DA, which is not poor people getting land and human distribution of land and human settlement. It is not. Unless if
Can
I'm
I
wrong,
take
the
a point of
Democratic
order?
Alliance all of a sudden is...
Can I take a point of order, please?
Speaker, you have ruled on the matter. Please, can you ask the MMC to keep to the topic of the item? Thank you.
Point of order sustained. MMC.
I will stick to the... I
Can you
will
please?
stick to the content. Maybe they should just clarify if they are pro-poor in terms of people getting land, so that we're not confused and I'm not misunderstanding what the Honorable Councillor has said. You said the DA is pro-land. Wow. Speaker, as the African National Congress, we are pro-poor and we are bringing items to this council so that the poor access land and that they access reputable human settlement aspect, especially on this one, even though that if they do support us, but the truth remains, and the people of Mangaung know exactly what their ideology is on land, and who in their books is supposed to get land, and who is not supposed to get land, which is a shame in this democratic South Africa, that we have a party
Councillor,
that still holds
there's a
such
point of
views.
order. Can I take a point of order?
I don't know whether you have anything against me or what. But I need to clarify this thing. I said, as the DA therefore recommend that the council knows this report and approves the expenditure from our own funds, authorizing the Mangaung Metropolitan Municipality to acquire earth. I don't know where do you get your story? True.
Speaker, the Honorable Councillor was reading from the report by the administration. That's what he stood up and was reading. And then he said, we as the DA are for land. That's what I'm questioning. Well, since when are you pro-poor and pro-land, giving land to people? Exactly, that you know exactly what is happening.
Point of order, Speaker.
No, I'm not going to take points of order anymore.
No, sorry, Speaker. You can't say that, Speaker. Where in my minuted speeches, I always said we are for.
No, I as the presiding officer, I have a right to make that ruling. No, sit down, Councillor. No, Councillor, sit down. No, Councillor, sit down.
Sit down.
It's not wrong. Go and read your rules. Councillor Nhlapo, do you have a problem if the DA supports your recommendation?
I don't.
Thank you. That concludes the debate on this item. May I now start with the first proposal? There was a proposal that this matter be referred back for admin to relook at the item. It was sponsored by Councillor Foster. Was it supported? If it was not supported, it will fall off. Okay. No, then it was not supported. May I now see hands of those in favor of the recommendations as contained in the report on this item? Those recommendations are two: that council take note of the report of the unforeseen and unavoidable expenditure in terms of section 29 of FMMA. Secondly, that council take note and approve the expenditure that will be funded from own funds. Can I see hands of those in favor of that recommendation? Thank you. Those against? Abstentions? Thank you. In favor 61, against 5. Councillors, please. Can you please behave? I know that when it's getting late, you get irritable. Please behave. What vote your councillors are speaking, and this is against the rules. Those in favor is 61, those against 5, abstentions 13. The item will be carried as it is. I now have,
Speaker.
On what point are you rising, Councillor?
Rule 13, Speaker. Speaker, I just wanted to be duly noted that Democratic Alliance has voted for the item and the MMC was misleading the public for political scoring.
No.
People of Mangaung know.
You are out of order.
They know you.
They don't know you because you don't do your job. They don't know you.
We will proceed to item 26.6. That item deals with advertising and filling of 2 vacancies in the Audit and Risk Committee. And the report is part of your addendums there. I have the following 2 speakers, Councillor Sokaka, Councillor Tsoledi, none from DA, Councillor Malebu. In that order, those 3 hands are recognized. You may proceed, Councillor Sokaka.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, we are putting this item to request permission from Council to advertise 2 vacancies that has occurred in the Risk Committee in St. Lake. Councillor Mfanta, she has resigned. Councillor Dr. Natili Skeppers, she has passed on. Now that the committee has 5 members, it becomes difficult for them when they sit if one of them can. There are 5, 2 have resigned. I mean, 1 has passed on, 1 has resigned. If there are 3, if one put an apology, it becomes difficult for them to reach a quorum. Hence, we request that we advertise and fill the vacancy as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sokaka. Councillor Tsoledi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I don't even want to waste the time of this House. I'm rising to support what Honorable Sokaka has just put on into the House and believing that all of us, we are going to agree with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Malebu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And greetings to the House and people of Mangaung at large. Speaker, the EFF rise to engage the matter concerning the advertising and filling of 2 positions within Audit and Risk Committee, a matter which goes to the heart of institutional capacity, accountability and service delivery in this municipality. The question of appointments in strategic entities such as Cllr is not merely administrative, Speaker. It is political because the quality of leadership and technical capacity in municipal entities determines whether the people receive reliable services or continued failure. Speaker, the report before Council proposes the advertising and filling of 2 positions within the Audit and Risk Committee Cllr as part of efforts to strengthen governance and operational effectiveness. The EFF recognizes the filling critical vacancies is necessary if municipal entities are to function effectively. However, the mere filling of positions does not automatically translate into improved performance unless appointments are based on competence, integrity, and commitment to public service. Cllr plays a critical role in the provision of electricity services, and therefore the stability and effectiveness of this entity directly affects the daily lives of the people. When electricity fails, it is not politicians who sit in darkness, but ordinary residents, small businesses, and working class households. The appointment of capable individuals is therefore essential to ensuring reliable service delivery. The EFF emphasized that appointments in municipal entities have historically been affected by political patronage and cadre deployment across municipalities in South Africa. Public entities have been weakened by the appointment of individuals based on political connections rather than professional competence. When appointments are made on the basis of loyalty instead of ability, institutions collapse and communities suffer. The proposal to advertise and fill these positions must therefore be accompanied by strict safeguards to ensure transparency and fairness. The people of Mangaung must be assured that these positions will not be reserved for politically connected individuals, while qualified professionals are excluded. Yes. Speaker, the EFF believes that public institutions must be built on professionalism and accountability. The success of Cllr depends not only on technical systems, but also on the quality of leadership and management within the organization. As the EFF, we support the principle of filling critical vacancies because effective institutions are necessary for service delivery. However, support for appointments cannot mean blind acceptance of recruitment processes that lack transparency and fairness. Speaker, Israel fela wena motsamaisi wa dipuisano. Ke lebohile.
Thank you, Councillor. That concludes our discussion on this matter. Can I now see hands of those in favor of the recommendation to advertise and fill the vacancy? Thank you very much, Honorable Councillors. The House is unanimous. We will now proceed to the last item on our agenda, which is item 27. Councillor Chard, earlier on you had a caucus. I don't know if it will be you presenting that extra recommendation to the recommendations you provided, or the chairperson of MPEC. Us parents usani ka speech se se kalo
sisinyane
No, you may proceed, Honorable Chair.
The Honorable Speaker, Dr. Mathae, the Executive Mayor, Deputy Executive Mayor, Chief Whip, MMCs, Chairpersons of Section 79 committees, Honorable Councillors, City Manager, HODs, other municipal employees, members of the media, and the residents of Mangaung, I greet you all. Honorable Speaker, the purpose of this report on the draft revised terms of reference of MPEC is for consideration and approval by Council. The Council, at its meeting held on 30th of June 2025, considered and took note of the draft revised terms of reference of the MPEC under item 113.3 on the 30th of June 2025. Honorable Speaker, in terms of the Council resolution Annexure B, the Council resolved that the draft be circulated to the National Treasury, Cllr, and Cllr for comments and inputs before it can be finally tabled before the Council for adoption. The circulation for comments and inputs before final approved by Council happened at the request of National Treasury. Honorable Speaker, in January 2026, the draft Annexure A was circulated as resolved by the Council. The National Treasury and Cllr submitted their comments and inputs as requested although it was after the deadline, the 30th of January 2026, as indicated in the letter Annexure C by the chairperson of the MPEC. COGTA didn't submit any comments or inputs as requested and expected. Honorable Speaker, it must be indicated that the comments and inputs made by National Treasury and Cllr, as well as those made during the MPEC sitting on the 12th of February 2026, have been considered and incorporated into the final draft Annexure A for Council consideration and approval. Honorable Speaker, the general explanation note in the first or front page of the draft Annexure A guides how the new inputs and deletions have been made in the draft. This means the words in square brackets simply indicates the deletion from the existing 2021 terms of
Sorry,
reference.
Chair, let me take a point of order.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Speaker, there are rules that are very clear that there should be no howling noise when another speaker is on the floor. But the members of the same party are on the floor making noise and distracting us from hearing what the chairperson of MPEC is saying. I suspect they don't respect him, but they should not show us. They should not show us, because you don't know what are the reasons. In this particular case, I'm talking about MMC Sotkaka and MMC Kruger. They are talking there and making noise. I was watching them, they can't deny that they were talking. And the camera, if we can look at it, it will show that they were talking and they are so disrespectful to the decorum of this house. Point of
order sustained. Can all members be in order and allow the speaker on the podium to make his speech? You may proceed, Chair of MPEC.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. The general explanatory note in the first or front page of the draft Annexure A guides how the new inputs and deletions have been made in the draft. This means the words in square brackets simply indicates the deletions from the existing 2021 terms of reference, and the words underlined shows the new inputs into the existing 2021 terms of reference. Honorable Speaker, Annexure D is a cleaned up version of how the final draft Annexure A will look like after or if the Council adopts the 2026 draft revised terms of reference. In other words, the cleaned up version Annexure D will be the 2026 revised terms of reference of MPEC. Honorable Speaker, the report is tabled for approval with additional recommendations, Honorable Speaker. Earlier today, we had a caucus with the members of MPEC committee, and we have agreed that we must have additional recommendation, Honorable Speaker, that the adopted revised terms of reference must be amended within 60 days to ensure compliance with the recommendations contained in the National Treasury letter dated 12 February 2026. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, we have agreed as a committee that we are going to approve or request the Council to approve the terms of reference with amendments, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Hangu, thank you, Habidi, thank you, Hararu, Kenta, Dual Sono Yaring, I be hot.
Thank you, Councillor. I have noted I have the following speakers: Councillor Chwani, Councillor Mhibidu, and Councillor van der Walt. You may start, Councillor van der Walt.
Speaker, what were you saying? Oh, no, I'm fine.
Oh, you're fine. Thank you. Councillor Chwani?
No, everything that Chairs has said, I support it.
Thank you. Councillor Muhibidu? Thank you. Councillors, may we vote in favor of those recommendations? Thank you, councillors. The House is unanimous. That concludes our discussion on that item. We are now on item 28, reports from Councillor Sibula, please. Reports from Audit and Performance Committee, none. Reports from Ward Committee and consolidated report on Ward Committees, none. Reports on SALG activities, none. Reports on in-committees, none. Notice of motion, none. Yes.
Speaker, it is disturbing that the report on Salga is none, but I've raised it with you in the last meeting, and I've raised it with WIP. I think maybe in the next meeting we'll not have this embarrassment again, that there is none when the activities that are happening at Salga.
No, Councillor, I think you raised a critical point. What the council must do is to appoint a person who will be responsible to coordinate those reports. All of you seated here belongs to different SALGA working groups of the province. And for us to know your work as the council, there has to be some office or some person who coordinates your reports, so that as and when there's a council meeting, that person is able to phone you, Councillor Mungale, serving in the provincial working group on water. Is there a report that you want us to table before council for information? So I think you were right. We just need to have a person who will specifically deal with the reports, because we are denying this council a lot of information on what are we doing in Salga as this institution. I don't know if I should leave that to the city manager to assign officials, or it be a matter that is dealt with through the office of MMC performance and IDP. I'm open to your advice, so that at least there's a clear resolution on this matter. You may proceed.
No, Chair, for a short period, it can stay within the corporate service. But in the long term, there should be a person that is appointed in a similar way like we used to do at LLF, when we appointed someone who is the secretary of the LLF. There needs to be someone, because we can't have this vacuum that people attend committees for leisure, because there's no report that are coming here. There are legislations. There is a white paper review on local government. We are being asked by people, what is the position of municipality? We don't have a position, except to go to website and try to find an answer. What is Salga saying there? But what is the view of Mangaung Metro on that particular issue?
Thank you. I think we will capture it like that. In the medium term, we will assign somebody, but in the long term, there must be a specific office that coordinates the reports of different members who participate in SALGA working groups. Councillors, I think that brings us to the end of the meeting. I therefore wish to take this opportunity to thank you all, to thank our officials. The meeting is officially adjourned. Thank you very much. Thank you.